Listen, if Dak being done for the year gives the Cowboys cover to pretend as if we would have been, injuries just bit us. We would have been fine. That will be a shame.
Yeah, it will be a shame.
Because, listen, I got the Cowboys wrong before the year. I thought they'd win the division. I think both of us thought they'd make the playoffs. I'm not being a smartass here. I don't remember if you had them in the playoffs. He doesn't either, remember? He had them in the playoffs. But I don't think you were obviously more pessimistic on them than I was. But they looked like a bad football team before Dak got hurt, which means now that Dak is hurt, they might not win another game.
Yeah.
They will be favored in one game the rest of the year, home for the Giants on Thanksgiving, I think. I don't think right now they will be road favorites in Carolina in Week 15.
That's bonkers.
I think they will.
I don't know, man. Carolina's, you know what I mean?
Carolina's atrocious.
Well, Carolina,
they got to be favored against Carolina.
I don't know if they would be. I mean, Carolina played a more competent game Sunday morning. I know most people didn't watch it in Germany at 9 a.m. than the Cowboys have played in quite some time. And here's the situation the Cowboys now find themselves in. The rest of the year, I only think Jacksonville and maybe the Giants are easier outs for the opposition, which means they should end up with the top 5 pick, which means they should be able to have a true accounting for how bad this team actually is. Mm-hmm. And it should be a reality check that even if Dak were there, if you're 4-13 without your quarterback, you're probably not 13-4 with your quarterback, unless that quarterback's one of the greatest players in the history of the league, which Dak is not.
Okay. So I really wanted to highlight this for honestly a few reasons more than anything. More than to really kind of talk about the Dallas Cowboys and how good they are, because there are still Dallas Cowboys fans that think that they would have been good this season, even, if it wasn't just for the injuries. And now you have Nick Wright, who was absolutely the most vocal supporter of the Dallas Cowboys, say this team looked like they were bad regardless of any of the injuries. And now this is going to act as a cover. And he admitted that he got it wrong. And I said the Dallas Cowboys weren't going to make the playoffs and all that. And I've already gone through all that. I'm not receipt keeping here in this video. But I did just want to highlight that because it's just it's as clear as day. Like even Nick Wright is saying that. And it ends up being a silver lining because they should now get a great draft pick. They should get a great draft pick rather than maybe sneaking into the playoffs or being a fringe playoff team and then not getting as good of a pick. So it'll be interesting to see what the Dallas Cowboys do. But there was another thing that I really wanted to highlight. There was 2 things. One, someone recently in the comment section wrote this very long thing because I said the Cowboys are a mess and this franchise has serious issues. And they went on to say, no, they've drafted more Pro Bowlers, and this is the best team that drafts out of anyone in the last 30 years or whatever. They're historic. They have more All-Pro, more Pro Bowlers than any other franchise, and they're 12-win seasons and all of that. And I was like, but you haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years. And they were like, well, that's just a consolation prize. It's all about winning Super Bowls. And it's like, but you haven't even been to an NFC Championship game. So how are you in 30 years? How are you winning a Super Bowl? And also, if you have all these all-pro players and all of these Pro Bowlers, more than any other franchise, which I did not vet, I'm sure that's true. He seemed pretty knowledgeable. Then how is it not absolutely fundamentally awful and a disgrace that you can't even get to a Super Bowl? Like, that's what I don't understand about Dallas Cowboys fans. It makes no sense. How are you not holding your team's feet to the fire? How are you not furious about how this team and this franchise has been run and how their seasons have unfolded for years? Years. That you have more teams reaching Super Bowls than Dak Prescott has playoff wins. You have teams that have reached more Super Bowls than Dak Prescott has playoff wins. I mean, it's just wild. It's absolutely wild. And reading that comment was just really just like shocking to me. And seeing how like getting to it's all about Super Bowls, and anything less is a consolation prize, which one is just not really true. And two, if that's the case, then how do you not see, if it's all about Super Bowls, like how do you not see then the last 30 years being an absolute failure? I can't make sense of it. I really, really can't. So Dallas Cowboys fans, I ask you, how do you make sense of this? And the other thing is this, and I was very firm on this, because they talked about how this was an excuse for Dak Prescott with his hamstring injury, that he quit on his team. And again, it's funny, I pushed back. Everyone wants to say that I'm a Dak hater, I'm a Dallas Cowboys hater, but then I was totally defended Dak. I was like, what? You guys have no idea what you're talking about. I don't care what one athlete, how he had an injury, and now he's trying to compare it to Tyreek Hill. Like, just because you're an athlete and just because you were injured doesn't mean that you now know every single thing about injuries, or that you know about what another person's injury looks like. And now for all the people that said that Dak Prescott quit on his team or is looking for an excuse, and now he's getting surgery, you look like a fool. You look like a clown. Him having to go to New York to get surgery from a specialist. I don't know why people are so obsessed with being confident and being able to tell other people what their bodies can and can't do. It makes no sense. It's one of the things that ex-athletes in the media love to do more than anything else. You gotta find a way. Hey, we're all banged up. Hey, it's February. Everyone's banged up. That's what they always say, because they all want to put on this facade that they're all a bunch of warriors. Hey, man, I'm banged up. My ankle's all messed up. You just tape it, take some Advil and get out there. Sure. Okay, whatever you say. That is the biggest lie told in sports, that everyone's banged up. Everyone's dealing with injuries. Yes, but it's all on completely different levels. Some are truly debilitating. Some are so painful you can't sleep at night. Some just get really sore after a game or after a practice. Some just get a little stiff. Some are in a lot of pain, but you know what? Come time, game time, not that big of a deal. While others absolutely are excruciating. Every time you pull back, every time you run, whatever it may be, you just feel the jolt of pain. And it's brutal. Some, it's just pain tolerance, but you can still perform at 100%. Others, you would get a legitimate decline. You are now playing at 75%. You used to be able to throw a ball, this is made up, 75 miles per hour. Now you can only throw it 65 miles per hour. Right? Like, there's literally decrease in production. But again, athletes love, I mean like in the media now, they love to put on this like warrior mentality. There was no reason to call Dak out and say that he quit on his team, or that he's being weak, that he's not Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's absurd. Seriously, that's absurd. And was not fair to Dak. It really wasn't. Under no reason was Dak ever deserving of that type of attention. None. If you want to call him out for losing playoff games, for not showing up in playoff games, for choking, whatever it may be, fine. Go have fun doing that. But to question the man's like integrity and his ability to compete and overcome injuries, they did the same thing to Joel Embiid in Philly, and it's just you look foolish. Anytime people have a wrong take, I always try my best, without a shadow of a doubt, to attack the take and not the person. And that's why I always say, even with Nick Wright, I never call Nick Wright a clown. I never call him dumb, stupid. I never do that. Ever, ever, ever. It'd be very easy for me to be like, oh my God, Nick Wright is such an idiot. I never say that. Not once. People always say, oh, I have issues with Nick Wright. Yet I always attack the take. It's always the sin, not the sinner. But when people start to kind of question someone else's integrity like that, question their manhood, their lack of will, how hard they try, how much they care, that's when it gets harder for me to start to play that game. For me to be like, well, I just disagree with that take. Because you're attacking the person now. You're attacking the person. And again, say what you will about Dak, but it's like unnecessary. And it's based off of nothing. It's one thing if you had direct evidence. If you want to come out of person and say they can't handle this moment and it's based off of more direct evidence, then I'm all for that. But otherwise, you're just making takes up. If you're going to say he quit on his team, what are you basing that off of? Because you had a hamstring injury before? Because you know what it's like to feel injured before? And so, like, that's what I really wanted to highlight. Because him having now season-ending surgery. Surgery is no joke. You don't just casually get surgery. You want to avoid surgery at all costs. I feel as though also with sports, watching sports, people think that surgery is really casual. Oh, yeah, you just get surgery. You fix it right up. Surgery is actually devastating. Surgery, no matter what type of surgery, even the most routine surgery, they even talk about that. That's the joke. There's no such thing as routine surgery. Just going under anesthesia is a big deal. Being in a hospital and being cut open is a big deal. That's why you have to take antibiotics as soon as you get surgery. Like the risk for complications is actually shockingly higher than we as a society as a whole want to acknowledge, quite frankly. And so getting surgery is no small thing. It's just not. And the healing process, the scar tissue, all of the issues that can arise, it's a big deal. So it really shows you the severity of the injury and the complications that can arise. So just pretty interesting to have this story kind of go full circle. So I wanted to highlight that aspect, honestly, more than anything, because it's just, people who were trying to call him out. I really take issue when people want to call out a person's like what they feel who this person is based off of just like nothing, right? Whether we want to define it as like manhood, competitive spirit, right? Determination, discipline, will, like, again, whatever word we want to use, when people start to question that aspect about another person, unless you're best friends with them and you grew up with them and you really know them from start to finish, it's just not an opinion that should really be shared, because you just have no idea. Honestly, the only people that really do know are not even other teammates. It's probably their parents and their like wife or girlfriend long term. Like, they're the only ones that honestly probably really know. They're the only ones that are having those real, true conversations behind closed doors. They're the ones that can see behind any of the illusions. So just my rant on that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Dak Prescott having season-ending surgery and the Dallas Cowboys season as a whole? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.